Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. To my respective lecturer, Madam Nozaliza binti Makno and all the viewers of this video. My name is Muhammad Azim Aizat, and today my group will be presenting regarding our group project, which is titled The Statistical Research on the Effects on Sleeping Hours to Students' Performance. My group consists of Haikal Akif, Aiman Nuri, and Amirul Arfan. So why do we choose this title for our project? This is because we want to study the relationship between having short sleeping hours influences academic performance, GPA, which is grade point average. Students have various reasons for sleeping insufficiently, whether on purpose or not. Teachers and parents have taught the students to have a good amount of sleeping hours. Some of them love to stay up late to study or play games. That is why we are conducting this research to see whether having insufficient sleep will have an effect on the students' GPA. Our problem statements are to find out the effects of insufficient sleep on students' GPA. Certain individuals imagine that not having an adequate number of long stretches of rest will cause them to feel tired the following day, which makes them less keen on the matters and lose center during classes, which aggravate their GPAs. On the other hand, there are some students who usually have fewer sleeping hours, which may not ease them from focusing in classes and being interested in their subjects as much as students who have sufficient sleep. This is because they feel that it is not important for them as long as they pass their subjects. From the input that is stated, we are expecting that understudy provides an adequate measures of rest will have a more incredible GPA. This is because the students that have enough sleeping hours will be more energized to learn, which makes them interested in their subjects and be more focused in class. We use various methods to receive the data. The data that was collected was based on the IUM students from various Korea. We are collecting the data by online survey using Google Forms. In these surveys, the respondents were asked to answer a few questions that related to our research. We will use 100 respondents for our research. Our group is using the inferential statistic method. So, to determine the spread of the data and the consistency of a variable, we utilize the variance and standard deviation calculated from the data. The Bezier theorem is used to calculate the number of data values that fall inside a particular interval in a distribution.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. My name is Haikal Akif bin Syari, matric number 2118451, and today I'm going to present to all of you about the relationship between students' kuliah and frequency of taking survey and the data analysis of students' studying and sleeping hours. So firstly, what we have here is the data that the number or frequency of the of the kuliah of students who answer or fill our survey forms. We can see here that the majority of the survey is taken by the KICT or Kuliah of Information and Communication Technology students, and it follow up by the Kuliah of Engineering or KOE in the second, and we have 3 kuliah that have 1% of the students that fill our form, which is Kuliah of Pharmacy, Ahmad Ibrahim Kuliah of Laws, and Kuliah of Education. And we have Kuliah of Islamic Early Knowledge and Human Science as the 2% of the total students that fill our survey. And last but not least, is Kuliah of Economic and Management Science that has 3% of the total of students here. Okay, next, the analysis on category, which is first we start with the daily students sleeping hours. We can see here we take the first 100 students that fill our survey, and we record it as our project data. So we can see here that majority of the students that fill our form have a sleeping hours of 5 to 8 hours. Sleeping hours they spend daily. So we can see here that majority of the IIUM students have 5 to 8 hours average hours that they spend daily to sleep. Next, analysis on category for daily students studying hours. Here we can see that most of the students have just 2 hours or 3 hours of studying per day. So we can see here that not so much students that will spend a lot of hours to study daily. They just spend 2 to 3 hours at the class time to study daily, followed up by 1 hour and 4 hours, around 8 to 9%. That's all for me. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you to my fellow groupmates. And now I will present about limitation, weaknesses, conclusion, and recommendation. First of all, the limitation and weaknesses. There are 4 major that we found. Number 1 is the number of respondents is pretty low. Second one, the skill of the respondents does not vary. For example, like kuliah. So we like that the majority of our respondents is from KSCT, and we can get from every kuliah in IUM. So the third one is some respondents don't want to share their personal information. Maybe this because they feel unsafe because when they share their information. And lastly, among all the respondents, we also include some bad example in our result. So next, for the conclusion, student choices on frequency of their GPA and the hours of study are closely related to their sleeping hours. Based on the means or samples, students that get more hours of sleep tend to get higher GPA. This result is clearly logical and concurs to our hypothesis. Thus, we do not reject our hypothesis because of the result. So, the recommendation we can get, we use a larger sample size, then we collect data in a bigger amount of time to get more respondents, and try to promote our Google form to get the data from every kuliah, not just the majority of the KFCT students. And we try to convince the respondent to that the information of our respondent will not be leaked to the public. So that's all from us. Thank you very much.